The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. As Africans, there is something we need to understand, and that is we are the only ones that can actually change the narrative here, and we must learn to see ourselves as one people, because no matter how much we try to love other people, we will always need ourselves when these people turn their backs on us. Africa surprised everybody. Africa sent a delegation to Burkina Faso, all the savior, the protector, the unifier, the messiah, the king of kings, the most loved, Captain Ibrahim Traore. Please like this video and please follow my backup account at thelatest.gen1, because this account, people are reporting this account. I've been facing some attacks here, so please follow me on that page. I'll be posting videos there in case of anything. An Ivorian delegation led by Minister Adama Dusso recently visited Burkina Faso in early December 2025 to amend diplomatic ties. Amend diplomatic ties. Because the relationship between the Ivorian authorities and the Burkinabe's authority is something else. Because always are all in us bring out facts that Africa is used against our all in all and the Sahel leaders, just to make sure that France succeed. Following tension from Burkinabe military coups and Ivorian concern over regional instability, with talks focusing on rebuilding trust, shared history, and restoring strong cross-border relations, especially concerning migrant workers and regional security.
Diplomatic warming between Abidjan and Ouagadougou. After more than 3 years of tension, the Ivorian authorities have requested a meeting with the head of Burkinabe diplomacy, Adama Soso, Ivorian minister in charge of African integration and Ivorians from outside, was received that day by the head of diplomatics. Burkinabe. The exchanges focused on between the two countries of the dialogue standstill. Blessing Frederic home. Handshake between the minister delegate for African integration and Ivorians from outside the Ivory Coast and the head of the diplomacy Burkinabe. The act on the premises of the Burkinabe Ministry of Foreign Affairs symbolizes an important step toward tensions between the two nations. Sisters to this meeting desired by the Ivorian authorities. It is a question of renewing a dialogue imbued of frankness and brotherhood, the message of the good family. So it's really moved by the spirit. Therefore, a fraternity of this seminar, a fraternity that we displacement, so that our reports, who know some small Asian, but that it goes indeed of the life even in a couple. Sometimes there are ups and downs. There are arguments, and afterlife resumes its normal course. It is therefore CE in the spirit that we are here to effectively ensure that these moments of incomprehension are from the past, which was a model of cooperation in West Africa, and in Africa in general anyway. Go back to CE. She was receiving Adama Dusso. Burkina Faso, under the leadership of the president of Faso, Captain Charles Traore, reaffirms once again the Pan-African values and regional integration in Padre de Ouagadougou. The two countries are moving towards a thawing of relations. After more than 3 years of tension, without language of wood, Karamoko Jean-Marie Traore recalled the government's position in a spirit of brotherhood, but with firmness on principles that govern the cooperation. With the Ivory Coast, the Burkina Faso remains open. We welcomed our brothers from the Ivory Coast. It is a signal to say that we are not a closed land. It is also a signal to say that we are open, if we can work to remove these big obstacles. There is a work of construction, or consolidation of trust to do. We have agreed that at the level of our diplomatic bodies, we have to work on this issue so that our two countries can get back together. And work on the meeting of the day marks the commitment of both countries to rebuild and maintain sustainable cooperation and soothe for LA stability sub-region and the genocide of the Ivorian and Burkinabe peoples. And today, if an official Ivorian delegation comes to Burkina Faso, I find it logical, and it's even very to be greeted, because at which gas, we inside even geopolitical point of view. And when you look at the president's new term, it's a mandate that has created a lot of saliva and ink. Therefore, it is normal also that for the Ivory Coast, the Ivory Coast seeks peace with its neighbors, especially since around the Ivory Coast. There is, in any case, these countries are at war, are in difficulties and recolonization. So it's normal that the Ivory Coast, in any case, dialogue, and I think that this dialogue did not start today. We had the opportunity with the attack, and we also EU the meetings of the Angligo. And we had, in any case, a lot of diplomatic situation with military CES. Ivorians that Burkina has released with other military. Burkina has remained in a diplomatic spirit. And we also saw the brutal love of Alino Faso. And these last two times which have created another diplomatic cold. So today, if we have this opportunity, we must talk and see what to say. There is no problem between the Ivory Coast and Burkina. There are, in any case, concrete problems between the different leaders. It must be said that between the Ivory Coast and Burkina, outside Maurice Yamego, only no president. Burkinabe had no peace with Ivorian leaders, and it's not their fault. The colonial question arises when we have divided the Burkina Faso in 1932. The Ivory Coast had received 50% of the part of the Ivory Coast, and the tensions were such as in 1947. They were obliged to create what is called East Tensions Ivory Coast, and that makes France put these two countries always in conflict at the top of the state. So, we must understand our colonial history and talk to us between brothers, which is sometimes difficult. But there are only intellectuals, journalists, analysts, who will address the problem to free the realities. Otherwise, CE, that we live between the Ivory Coast, not the people's problem. It is political manipulation.
How do we rebuild trust that is broken? Because clearly what all of us always tell us, Ivorians authorities haven't played well with them because of the things that they believe they have been doing. One time I posted a video concerning the Ivorian leader, and some Ivorians came and they were telling me not to speak ill of their leaders, but what your leaders are doing, some of the things against the Sahel, isn't right. And we are excited that today these same people are back, and that is why we don't have to be causing tension among ourselves, because the moment we end up fighting each other, one day the authorities will find means and ways uniting themselves, and we the citizens will find it so difficult to now work with each other. But how do we rebuild the trust that is broken? That one is very important, because as Africans, this is supposed to be something that we will cherish because of who we are, because we are one people. But it has turned out that we are the same people that are always betraying our brothers and sisters. And this time around, Burkina Faso is on the right track, taking their sovereignty into their own hands, because we have been puppets for a very long time. We hope that they are able to build this trust among themselves. They share the same history, and Africans, we all share the same history. We are one people, regardless of what. We've also seen that they are talking about restoring strong cross-border relations, because ever since this thing happened, we have been hearing that it is so difficult for the Ivorians to be accepted into Burkina Faso, because nobody knows who will be what. And we also saw what they did to Alino Faso, the activist, to the point that it's affecting us in the grassroots. even though our all-in-all Captain Ibrahim Traore said, they are not after the people but the authority, because they are the decision makers. And what they have seen, and they're not running to Burkina Faso for this relationship, is something we don't know. And we hope that Ivory Coast is truly repented and is ready to do something right in their own country. Because Africa, we are just looking for the right thing to be done. Economic ties. Significant migration occurs within many Burkinabe moving to Cote d'Ivoire for work. We also have this political tension. Relationship grew strained after Burkina Faso military coup and Ivorian concern about regional security, leading to diplomatic staff recalls. This insecurity we are hearing every blessed day. We know where it's coming from. And this is not a time for us as Africans to pretend that we don't know who is causing us pain, and for us to continue to be fighting among ourselves. This is the time for the African to come together and to make sure that we will see ourselves as one, so we can work to really cause a change in Africa. The outcome of the meeting. The talks were described as open and sincere, emphasizing shared history and communities. So, the leader who came, Adama, came with sincerity, and this sort of meetings would have been expecting the foreign minister to be the one that would meet with all in all. But why they chose to send this person is also something that we are asking questions about. But whatever it is, if only the Ivorian authorities are ready to start doing things right and to support us to get our freedom, we think that that's all that we are looking for. Africa uniting to set ourselves free. This is a beautiful day, but we just hope that at the end of the day, there wouldn't be any betrayal. Because it is the African that has been betraying the brother to others. And that is why today, Africa, we are still where we are, and other people are taking advantage. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Ivory Coast.